Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, I'm going to do two videos today giving you a guide to picking the right champions when you go into the Grim Forest, which is the brand new game mode. It's probably going live either tomorrow or the day after. I've been playing on the test server, on the test server, excuse me, on the test server right now, and I have, although I've not cleared every single stage, I have beaten all the bosses. I've basically unlocked every stage, seen most of the stuff. We've obviously beaten the final boss, beaten a chunk of the final area. It's pretty darn tough, this secret area. Seen a lot of stuff. Definitely, there were some champions I wish that I had picked for my decks, right? I picked my decks before I knew anything really about this game mode at all. There were some champions I didn't even use once. There were some champions I really missed. But I'll do another video talking about your deck building strategy. This video is a few champions that you may or may not have. I'm also going to include a lot of recent fusions in here as well that are going to be, I think, exceptionally helpful for you in the Grim Forest, and you definitely want to consider bringing them if you're lucky enough to have them. So without any further ado, let's dive in. And the first one may really surprise you. I didn't bring her, and I definitely will, and that's Maniah. Maniah is actually legit for this game mode. So for this game mode in particular, two of the bosses you are going to fight a lot. You'll have seen them show up in multiple spots. This treasure goblin guy with his big portrait and these mimic chests, you're going to fight loads of them. They're actually quite difficult. I actually think they're probably the two hardest bosses in some ways of this mode, and you can easily get stuck. Maniah helps you amazingly against both of them, and in general, she helps against a lot of the bosses. But you got Speed in All Battles aura, brilliant, fantastic. That she brings heal reduction and leech as well. There are very few champions that are good that have heal reduction, but heal reduction basically hard counters the mimic. It makes the mimic fight really easy, whereas without heal reduction, it's incredibly difficult. You might get stuck and not be able to beat it at all. Heal reduction makes it basically a joke of a fight. So yeah, she brings this in. She's also pumping out lots of healing, and that's something that's really good for that treasure goblin. The treasure goblin, every time you're smashing his gold plates, you'll figure out these bosses when you actually get to fight them. Just take my word for it for now, I guess. But she's pumping out healing with this one. She's pumping out healing at this move. She gives you a massive heal here and block debuffs. This happens if she dies, which hopefully won't happen at all. But in total, heal reduction also helps with the vampire boss, but she's pretty easy, I found. But yeah, she's going to pump out tons of healing, which is extremely helpful for Treasure Golem and actually extremely helpful for a few of the bosses. Block debuffs and the shield, extremely helpful for most of the bosses. Really helps you with the mimic. Yeah, she is just a boss MVP. And I think you combine her with Coronar. Honorable mention here to Coronar. I don't have him. I haven't tested him, but he should be extremely good. And he combos with Maniah. Now, the harder the floor you go to, by the way, the less likely it is. And that's where a big chunk of the challenge comes from. So you have to understand this for any of these duo champions, right? If I go into, we'll go into E, whatever, it's going to draw this, right? So against the green floors on hard mode, maybe it's the same on normal. I haven't tested normal, sorry. Haven't got around to it yet. There's been too much to do. But you get 10 champions from each deck, of each of your 20 decks. So I'm getting half of them there. On yellow, you're getting 8 and 8. If we go to the red floors, this is a red floor, you're getting 5 and 5. And then these really hard ones, the purple ones, you're getting 3 from each. Now, you can find an altar that gives you 1 extra, but it's pretty rough, right? You have to, how do you deal with the Freya? You can't lock her out. You can't CC her. She's totally immune to that. How do you deal with that? That's pretty rough. So yeah, you have to be able to deal with it with a very small number of champions. It does make these duo champions a little bit weaker. On the hardest stages, it's very unlikely that you're going to get them, but you've got a decent chance for some of the bosses. And if you do get the combo of Maniah and Coronar, I think even for waves, he's pretty good, right? He'll give you provoke for waves, and he'll protect himself. He's AoE decrease defense, decrease attack. His A1 is pushing turn meter back. He can counterattack as well, which is pretty great. So he'll be pretty helpful. And he's very tanky too. He'll be helpful for the waves. And if you combine him with Maniah, he becomes extremely good. He'll do a full debuff removal for your whole team. Give them block debuffs, increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. Very helpful for many of the bosses. So I think Maniah and Karnar, if you have him, you probably want to include. I'll put in a limited edition champion here, and then I'll give you a really free-to-play option as well, because honorable mention, because I know you might not have him. Elatrion Blademaster, I didn't bring him in, but I think he'd be incredibly strong. So he gives you full debuff removal with block debuffs, and the key thing here is that these are protected if there's a boss. Several of the bosses can steal your buffs or decrease their duration, and this is huge. Again, you got one of the bosses tries to burn you, and you really want to get rid of that burn. He gets rid of it, and he stops it at block debuffs. One of the bosses wants to absolutely spam you with poisons. No problem. He's got you. One of the bosses wants to block active skills on you. No problem. This guy's got you. He also brings you increased defense and shield, which again are protected. His A1 can extend your buffs. Yeah, he's super solid. He's a great little champion. Definitely worth considering to help you with the boss stages, which are really where it's, for the most part, hard. In terms of where I found personally difficult, I have found some of the bosses hard if you just don't have the counters. And we're going to touch on a couple of the really big counters to the Mimic now, apart from Maniah. And I have found that the purple area quite tough. But I found the waves to be not too bad. That's been my experience. Apart from the purple area has been pretty rough. Number 3, Morrigan. Absolutely MVP here. Again, speed in all battles aura, which is nice. This is the big thing with her. At the start of every turn, 100% heal reduction that cannot be removed. It's a protected heal reduction. Oh my gosh, this is insane. Right? How do I beat that Arik stage? Gosh, if I had a Morrigan, no problem. How do you beat the Mimic? Heal reduction every single turn, no problem. The vampire chick, no problem. She also brings you in turn meter pushback, which is good against the final boss, Leshen, though I did find him weirdly easy. And it's good against the Mimic as well. Turn meter boost increased speed is good against literally every single stage in this place. She also has full buff steal. That will steal the poison cloud off the poison guy. This will steal buffs off of any of the waves or mythical champions causing you trouble. AoE True Fear for wave control, decrease accuracy for bosses to make you be able to resist their buff steals and their poisons and their burns and all the nonsense. And she has decreased speed as well. She is insanely good. She's a former fusion, Halloween fusion from 2022 or something like that. It's been a while. If you have Morrigan, get her out of the vault. Get her into your team. Again, I so regret not having her. You have to get obviously lucky to draft her against the Mimic, but if you get her in against the Mimic, it's like GG. You beat that boss. So, just redraw until you get her, and that's an easy way to beat it, kind of for free. And number 4, another Undead Hordes, Little Miss Annie, I think is really going to come out of the vault for this. Great champion. Why is she so good? Decreased defense and heal reduction on her A1. So again, for any of those bosses where you want to get that heal reduction in, really nice. It can also be a little bit tricky for some of the fights to find your decreased defense, which can be really important to do good damage. So the fact that she is a very, very, very strong single target damage dealer, and pretty much all the hardest fights need big single target damage. The AoE fights are not that hard. She's a single target damage dealer who brings probably the most important debuff for the most annoying bosses, the Mimic, and decreased defense. She also self-buffs to increase attack on a 2-turn cooldown. So she brings her own increased attack. So again, when you're limited in your team building options, here's an attack-based damage dealer who self-buffs, which is very handy. Her A3 absolutely claps, which is great, huge damage. If she gets revived, she's very strong. And this is pretty cool as well. She does bring some self-healing, which is, again, pretty nifty for keeping her alive against the bosses. And she can deplete turn meter a bit, which is just great. So, and attack in all battles aura is very strong. So yeah, Little Miss Annie, I didn't bring her in. I kind of regret. Now, one slight problem you will run into, for me, for example, my Little Miss Annie, I think is 0 or 1 star. And obviously all of the bosses take 50% more damage if you're a 6 star. Regardless of the fact that they also take more damage because you've got the stats from the blessing and you've got the blessing of the blessing. But yeah, awakened weakness is a thing. So that can be a problem for any damage dealer. If you don't have a blessing, they're going to be weaker. But hey, what can you do? Oh, we're sticking with Undead Hordes again. A champion I don't have, I think he's going to be insanely good for this, is Mashald. Yeah, he's actually really good for Chimera as well. I don't have him, so I've never done a video on him. But he comes in, steals all buffs before attacking. Again, that's going to really help you with any of the mythical bosses. Helps you with the Poison Cloud guy. Some of the bosses can steal your buffs. You can steal them right back. It's great. He has heal reduction. Heals himself. Hits really hard if they have no buffs, which is going to be most of the time. Amazing. He also brings increased speed for your team. True Fear and Leech as well. So the Leech is going to help you really survive. Most of the bosses don't do that much damage, weirdly. So Leech will probably do a pretty good job of keeping you alive. Again, increased speed is a key buff. True Fear will really help you for any wave content. And then he does good damage on his A1. Attack in dungeons, no use there. But yeah, it's just really good damage output with increased speed. AoE True Fear, the Leech is increased crit damage is fine. This is such a good move. Yeah, he's going to be super, super helpful for you. It was one thing I didn't mention again for the Treasure Golem as well, is the Treasure Golem. I keep calling him a golem. He's a goblin. Treasure Goblin. But this Phrygius guy, the Treasure Goblin, he works like the Chimera or the Demon Lord, where you fight him for 30 turns. It doesn't matter what his health is. So if he steals, he can steal your buffs, right? If he steals continuous heals, that like Maniah places or what anyone places, it's not a big deal. He heals up, you don't really care. There's a couple of masteries interact, but it doesn't really matter. So yeah, healing and continuous heals are pretty darn useful. Speaking of continuous heals, actually, a champion, very recent fusion, Donatello. This guy is amazing. I picked him so much. He's so good for this. He's so good. HP aura if you need it, but he has full debuff removal with turn meter boost, continuous heal strengthen. It's so good. Increased speed, cooldown reduction. He has healing on his A1 and activating stuff. He can cheat death for someone to help them stay alive. He is so good. I mean, he's such a generally amazing support. He is good for like every fight in this mode. You're like, ooh, Donatello's there. Great. Pop him in. I also found Michelangelo to be extremely useful. Again, remember, it's one of the things with the turtles. I brought in Leonardo too. I actually found Leonardo to be the least useful of the three, believe it or not. I didn't bring in Raphael. I might. I haven't quite decided yet. The thing is, again, the harder the stage, the fewer champions you have. So the more unlikely it is that you can combine multiple of these turtles together. I just found like Leonardo or Raphael without other turtles aren't that crazy, but Donatello is perfect on his own, and Michelangelo is perfect on his own. He's decreased defense, and a stun, and a debuff spread. Great. He's AoE decreased attack and leech. The taunt helps him stay alive. He self-buffs increased attack. He just stays alive here. Accuracy in all battles. He's such a generally good standalone champion. Again, I found him incredibly useful. I found myself just picking him a lot, being like, this is a great safe option. That's bringing absolutely tons of utility, and his damage is plenty good enough. So yeah, him and Donatello both get a huge shout out. I picked Leonardo a few times. I didn't find him that necessarily helpful though, to be honest. So Leo is a little, he's not bad by any means, but again, you're not getting the full 4 turtle team probably on any of the really difficult stages. Just the easier, you'll definitely get it on the easier stages quite a bit, but you kind of probably gonna smash them anyway. Another shout out here, former fusion this year, Mad Hatter, near the start of the year. This guy's great as well. So he brings you in. The Hex is not super useful, but the weekend on the ally attack is pretty nifty. He can steal some buffs on his A1, debuff spread. It's okay. He can extend your buffs and decrease your debuffs and turn meter boost. This is fantastic, but his passive is really good as well. He actually does a fairly decent bit of healing, and he can also pump out a fairly decent bit of crowd control. So he's a really strong generalist that's going to help you for every single wave fight. He's going to help you for pretty much every boss fight as well. He just has a lot in his kit, and it ends up being extremely useful. So I was a pretty big fan of the Mad Hatter. I found I used him a good bit. 2 champions I didn't use, but probably would make it in actually, and I think be very helpful for a lot of people. Surprisingly, Granite Doorkeep is going to be really good here. He brings increased accuracy if you're low on the accuracy, but decreased defense and block buffs. 2 really important debuffs for many of the bosses. Like you really want block buffs for a good few of them. And then he brings really big single target damage as well. And his A1 is good, and it can remove buffs. Like it's pretty great. It also removes crowd control for him. I mean, he actually has a lot going on. He's very solid for this mode. I'll be honest, I don't know if I'll use him myself because I have other block buff options, but he has, again, so much utility in his kit while still being a good enough damage dealer. And like, you go, what's his big weakness? Oh, his AoE damage kind of sucks. Here's the thing. AoE damage is not that crazy valuable in this game mode from what I found. I also think Former Fusion, that I haven't really used much myself, Esme the Dancer, really nice. Again, block buffs, turn meter pushback, great. And the weaken, pretty nifty. Moto probably actually goes pretty well with her if you happen to have him, but also increase accuracy and speed, and she can remove all buffs from all enemies. Brilliant. Really, really good. So she can remove that poison cloud, helps with your accuracy requirements if that's a problem. Though I haven't found that to be a problem for me, at least. I haven't needed it, but yeah, increased speed champion. She can give you increased attack for your team. And yeah, she can also be boosting your attack damage dealer a bit and a speed in all battles aura. So I think she's a really nice generalist that could be quite helpful for a lot of the bosses, just removing those buffs and doing all that good stuff. Then for the final couple of obvious ones, but any of the champions like Elva are extremely good. I found Elva to be insane. So I used Ancora a good bit. I think I forgot to bring in Raka Viletide, who I've pulled recently. I would bring in Raka as well. Then obviously if you're lucky enough to have like Star Sage Galathea or anything like that. But basically Python would fit as well. You're basically looking for someone who can remove debuffs and bring block debuffs and healing as well. Revive too. Those four things are sort of your key. Removing debuffs, block debuffs, healing, reviving. It's the healer archetype. It's Galathea does like all of that in like one move or something. I don't know. Right? But it's extremely useful. For many of the bosses, you just kind of need to survive, and this really helps you. Many of the bosses have absolutely crippling debuffs, like the poison guy. Like, good luck, right? But throw in Elva, who's going to remove all the poisons and give you block debuffs for 2 turns, and you're great. You've got the big skeleton guy who tries to freeze you and steal all your turn meter. Well, you can't be frozen if you got block debuffs, and if you do happen to get frozen, we'll remove it. If someone happens to die, we'll revive them. Again, you're getting smashed around by the gold plates from the treasure goblin. She'll heal you up. She'll keep you going. Really insane. And again, anyone like that, I think Rack of Viletide is another one that's worth a shout out there as well for keeping you alive. Obviously, Galathea is going to be giga insane. Python, Former Fusion, although again, it was a long time ago, but very similarly going to be really, really helpful. So anyone like that is going to be absolutely clutch. And then 2 free-to-play MVP, actually 3. 3. Lydia. So good for so many bosses. She's a block buff champion, which is really helpful, but also bringing strength and increased speed, decreased defense, weaken. It's incredibly useful. I did find I put like decreased defense, weaken against the treasure goblin a couple of times, and then I just did so much damage, all the gold plates exploded, and we all died horribly. It was pretty bad, but she is incredibly useful. Again, there's several of the bosses where you want block buffs, and she's bringing 2 amazing debuffs and 2 amazing buffs. It's extremely helpful and decent for the waves as well. I do think Mithrala is pretty nifty. I think Mithrala could be quite helpful for people, mostly because of her A3. Great debuff removal with the shield and strengthen. That could be very, very nice. And then she brings increased attack or increased defense, which is helpful for whatever damage dealer you have. And basically, she's got infinite resistance. So it gives you a very, and accuracy in all battles aura too. So it gives you a very safe debuff removal champion that most people will have. Vizix is okay, by the way. I didn't use her, but she could be decent for the waves. Decreased speed is a key debuff against the Mimic as well, and the final boss. So she's not bad for that. You can steal some of their turn meter. The other bosses are immune, so she's pretty bad against most of the bosses, but she is good for the Mimic. Or not bad for the Mimic, very good for the waves. So she's a maybe, not as good as the others. Lydia's a definite slot her in. Mithrala, quite possibly. And who is the other one I wanted to mention? Oh, there were 2 more. I think I forgot to mention a budget one alongside Elatron Blade Master. Lamassu. If you get her from Siege, Lamassu's great. The speed in all battles aura is good, but she comes in AoE block buffs and True Fear. For a boss, it's block buffs and decreased speed. Very useful. Decreased attack as well. Particularly useful for the final boss, where she can actually give you such a big turn meter boost, single target. It can help you break free of the ensnare debuff that the final boss does. That being said, I found the final boss actually was very easy when all of his wandering bosses were dead. He kind of just fell over for me, so I don't know. And I forgot to bring HP burn, so he was like everything was weak hitting, and I still killed him. I don't know. So, don't know how hard he's going to be, but she is useful. She's useful for waves. Again, if you manual play the tough stages, you can also use her reset to reset key champions at the right times to like get your block debuffs up when you need it against a boss, whatever it may be. Lammasu is going to be very, very helpful for you. And then the final one I forgot to mention, but it's a great budget option for a lot of bosses for people. The epic Geomancer comes back. Hey, who knew? So he brings 3 turns of burn and weaken, which is great. Final boss, you really want to burn him. I killed him without doing it. It was a bit messy, but we got there. But burn, really good for the final boss. Very good for the poison boss as well, which I think is going to be one of the most difficult ones. He can deplete the turn meter, so he's not useless against the Mimic, but he's not great. I think he could probably be okay. I didn't bring him in my teams, unfortunately, but I think I will on the live game. But I think he'd be quite okay against the Treasure Goblin as well, because burn and weaken is fine. But like, yeah, he gives you a bit of damage reduction, helps your team stay alive. And then a lot of the bosses spam AoE attacks in this mode. A lot of them spam AoEs. And he's going to be triggering lots of enemy max HP hits, which will add up. He can also remove all buffs, which is really nice for like the vampire chick if she gets up a bunch of continuous heals, or if some of the bosses steal some nasty stuff from you, you can steal them back, which is cool. Decrease accuracy, surprisingly useful as well. You can get a lot of bonus resist. Like I can show you by the end of my Grim Forest. Dear Lord, I had 260 bonus resistance. 260. So needless to say, if you slap on a decrease accuracy, it's actually a very useful way. There were a few bosses where I fought, even some of these purple stages, I was going like this Nishak, I was going, okay, how do I do it? So I beat Nishak with this, yeah? I beat Nishak with this team. And I was like, when I looked at this stage, I went, well, shit. I have no redraws left today, but I don't have anyone with block debuffs. I can't lock him out because he's a boss. I can't control him. I can't stun him or anything. He's a boss. I could place decrease attack, but I don't know how much attack this guy even has. Like, am I just going to die from the bombs? You want to know what actually happened? I don't even have decrease accuracy here. I just resisted everything. I think he got a couple of bombs on me right at the end, but he tried to bomb me a couple of times and just resisted it, man. I was like, okay. I guess I blocked the increased accuracies with Lammasu, but yeah, the dude just couldn't bomb me. So I've obviously got 5-star souls on all of them except for Krisk, and he's built with high resistance. But 5-star soul makes a big difference and great haul. But yeah, throwing a decrease accuracy could actually be kind of clutch. Like seriously clutch. So yeah, there you are. Some tips right there for what you can do. But yeah, again, the final boss, this is what I use. Again, Lammasu came in, but Mikey is in there as well. Oh, I should mention, I wrote down a list. I actually picked, I meant to do 5. I only picked 4. So who are some of the champions I use the most? And we'll talk about this in my deck. I use Lazarius constantly. He's like super Arbiter Mythical, mostly just for his base form. Extremely helpful because he's got block debuffs. And before, he can decrease enemy buffs, but it is dependent on the hit, I think. But I don't know, maybe it's before attack. I don't even know how he works. I use him all the time. I don't even know. I'm an idiot. But block debuffs is really useful. Block buffs and turn me boost revive. He's like super arbiter. He's great. Use Marius pretty much every fight I could. The only exception is the vampire boss who's immune to enemy max HP. But Marius is just stupidly good damage with crowd control. I mean, he's insane. Furad, Wolfheart, terrible mythical, or is he? He's really good for this mode. So what does he have? Block debuffs, increase speed, and cooldown reduction on a 3-turn. This move alone makes him insane. Then he has an AoE decrease speed, and the freeze is actually kind of useful. I used him against the fire guy. In the end, the fire boss, I used him. He's the wrong affinity, but he worked just fine, and he locked him out. And then the other one is Androck. So a bunch of mythicals here. Androck was really helpful though. Lots of healing. And turn meter boosting and resistance. So yeah, and maybe Ancora might come in as well. Ancora I used quite a bit. But this was my fire guy team. This was we'll do a full breakdown of this, I guess, in the deck building. That was my final boss team. I'll show you guys here just for this video as well though. This is what I used for Vampire Chick. We just block buffed on her and she kind of fell over. I think the skeleton guy, no, poison guy is way down here. It's what I use for poison guy. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of the same. Where's the skeleton dude? Oh, he's down here. Skeleton dude. I use this. Okay, yeah, guys, you're seeing a lot of Fiorads and stuff. Like Fiorad, yeah, Fiorad, Lazarius, a few different guys. Oh, let's grab this chest. Woo! What do we get? Yes, game changer. Was that it? I think that was it, actually. Was that all the boss? I think they're the 4 bosses, 4 main bosses. And yeah, over here for like the final rooms. Funny enough, like you want to, we'll talk about it in the deck building, but like Nice, for example, was really helpful for waves, but I didn't really need him. But yeah, you get the gist. Those would be my top 5. Yeah, Mazarius, Marius, Lazarius, Androck, Fiorad, and probably Ancora were like my most used for the hard sections anyway, where I could pick them. And there we go. We also had 10 plus. Probably, I think we actually had about 15 or 16 or so great value surge champions. Hopefully it's helpful and it's giving you a bunch of inspiration on some champions. Maybe you got similar champions. Let me know any of your sleeper picks that you are thinking of using. I'm sure people could come up with some really interesting ideas. I'm very curious. Like one thing that to mention, I didn't try it because I didn't think to draft her in my pick, but I do wonder with Esme. So the final boss, he takes your highest, I think it's your highest speed person, and then he like ensnares them. I wonder if you could just have her break them free with this. You'd have to build really loads of attack, but like you could have like a really fast high attack bomb champion or something, and then I don't know, probably totally unnecessary, but there's some interesting ideas on it. Anyway, there you go. There are some of the things I'm definitely like I said, for me, I'm definitely bringing. Look at my list. I'm definitely bringing Lil Miss Annie, Morrigan, that I didn't bring, and Maniah. Those are like the 3 big ones for me that I didn't bring. I'm definitely bringing them next time on live server, I mean. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully it's helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.